Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up. How's it going, Response on Players? Welcome to another episode of the Response on Play podcast. We got episode 22 here today, and we're in the middle of nowhere trying to make our way over to the Albuquerque Regional. I'm Andrew, and of course, I'm joined by
Steph, and I hope you guys brought sunscreen.
Jake, we're about to do some science.
Brian, I think we took the wrong turn at Albuquerque.
And I'm James. We're going to make a robot.
You know, honestly, I actually want to know who is driving the RV.
That's such a good reference.
James, I think only like 3 of us know how to drive, right?
I
just pulled that out of nowhere. That's completely false. I think all of us
was
know
like-
how to drive.
I was like, I'm pretty sure every single one of us can
I don't
drive.
even know why I said that. I just felt like it.
Stephanie is just making up facts about us. She's trying to create deep lore
Yeah.
and gaslight us into not knowing skills we've had our whole lives.
Me when I
Well, if you
spread
say something that's
misinformation.
vague enough, it could be true. Like, we just
Yes, chef.
half of us know how to drive, but we don't elaborate.
Yeah,
Yes, chef.
Which half?
Yeah.
Mm. The bottom
Well,
half that uses all the
that's
that
technically
uses the
true.
pedals.
Half of us do know how to drive. All of us also know how to drive.
Regardless of
Right,
that fact, we have a couple things to talk about for this episode. First thing is the Band and Errata update that was dropped on the 6th, so just a few days ago as of this recording. So we have vertical maneuvering equipment being the banned card. I at first wasn't really expecting this to get hit, but then actually sitting and thinking about it, it makes sense. With Chaos getting so much support and being able to print momentum super easy, like the spending of momentum is not really a cost. It's basically, it feels like free plus or minus 3 speed.
Yeah, I mean, I have kind of a complex opinion on this one. And it's get fucking wrecked. His card sucks. So
Wait.
good riddance. I fucking hate this
Very-
card every time I
in
see
what
it.
Very
way?
nuanced.
In what way does it suck?
It's annoying. I mean, they say why.
Yes.
Like, it's just like, if you play it in Chaos, you just get free -3 speed every time, so I guess I'd better play fucking Kraken or pass-through walls or something, and I'm not gonna flip pass-through walls to cancel -3 speed unless it could possibly kill. Like, it's just annoying. It's a very annoying card to deal with.
Yeah, just like it sucks in the fact that every time you see it played against you, especially if they're on Chaos, it's like, okay, so that's just free stat manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. No, I get it for sure.
Yeah.
Plus the zone changing. Like, that's one of the
Yes.
things I find really annoying about
Mhm.
the Devil Jin. Is like every fucking thing is like guess the zone. It's like Mirio's back. Like,
Except
we're
it doesn't
playing
just
fucking
go
Mario's
+2
back.
and make it a low, like our Lord intended.
exactly.
+3, make it a low. +5, make it a high.
You don't get to see it, but as always, I did the Catholic cross.
Of course.
Whenever I say +2 and make it a low.
I mean, they just
Obviously.
keep printing characters that like steal momentum for free,
Mhm.
which with this card, since they made it the infinity symbol, any character that can steal momentum gets incredible value out of it. And it's not
Yep.
unique. Like, you can have multiple. If they have ways to get rid of one, you still have the others. Like, it's just it's very strong.
It also it can also give damage, so it's another way to help like close games if you need an extra bit of damage. So after you give the speed and possibly change the zone, you can just be like, all right, 2 damage for extra measure.
Yep.
You're dead, right?
There's the +2 after you made it a low. We've gotten there. It was
Mhm.
part of the Holy Trinity. So anyway, this card was cool if it was symboled.
Yeah.
If it hadn't been infinity, I think this card's really neat as like an air card or a. Oh gosh, I don't know. If I have to pick symbols from AOT, it's air or order.
There's only 6 of them.
Yeah, I know. If I'm picking symbols in general, I think all, like, this is a cool all effect.
Yeah.
Like, I can think of some other options, but, or like maybe water as kind of like a going with the flow I block wherever you're going to be.
Is this symbol
Kinda
not
thing.
all? What is this called then? This like
Infinity.
everything.
Infinity.
Oh,
It's Infinity,
So
yeah.
stupid. That
All is-
all is-
All is the gear.
What is the difference?
All is its
All
own
is a specific symbol.
and infinity can be played in any symbol.
Okay, so you have a
That's the
character.
mechanic difference.
Okay, so you
yes.
have a character on all, right? What does that
Uh-huh,
mean? What
yeah.
does that tell me about that character? Like,
The
thematically.
symbol is all.
Okay, besides, like, thematically. Let's get a little deeper here.
Typically,
Jack of
the
all
thematic.
trades.
Yeah, like typically they were a jack of all trades kind of character. They were good at things. All can do a little bit of everything, but wasn't particularly good at anything.
Who's like a quintessential all character?
All Might.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
I mean, he was on all, like, but
Yeah.
I don't know. if
Okay,
he's a
did they just give
quintessential
him
all
that
character.
because it's got all in his name?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
well-
a joke.
Oh, okay. Well, give me another one.
Oh, I don't know.
Midnight was one that was pretty
Yeah.
good.
Okay, but
Sir
she's
Midnight.
Midnight is not a jack of all trades, like the character.
Plus speed, minus
she can
speed,
jack all my
draw cards.
Shut up!
Shut up.
Shut up!
All's a bad symbol. I don't like it.
You're a bad symbol.
Dang.
I am.
Well, it doesn't get support anymore, so you know.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
like-
why. So
That's why
Uh.
newbies like you don't even have to fucking worry about it. They forgot about the
I was
symbol
gonna say-
too.
Sung Jin Woo has all.
oh yeah, that's a super
Yes.
relevant character.
Sung Jin
That's
who?
not what I was trying to say.
Oh goodness.
I would
Yeah,
just say he has the all symbol.
That's fair.
His
Yeah.
all symbol cards are actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fateful Decision's a pretty good card, and it's got
Hell yeah,
it's
that
a
card's
tuned doll.
sick.
I mean, here's the thing though. If you think about them putting on any other symbol, they would have fucked up and just put it on chaos.
Yeah,
So
they
it's not
would've.
fucking sit here and pretend it has a momentum ability on it. They would have been like,
Yeah.
well, chaos has only gotten 14 good cards in this set. Okay, here's another one.
100%. I was also thinking that. Like,
Look. One. Yeah, probably. It would have been an air chaos something symbol.
Yeah.
What-
I mean, they would have
what are-
symbol this shit. Everything except like fire would have been able to use it.
Yeah, fire's lame. No one cares about fire. I was gonna say, what are Mitchell Chimina's three symbols? The air,
You-
chaos, order.
Order, yeah.
Yeah, so it'd have been those three symbols. Perfect. We figured it out. In the old world, this would have been his card, just not yet. No, I think the effect idea, like it on
Oh, it's
paper.
good. It's good
Felt-
chaos order.
Oh, is it good? Never
It's
mind.
good.
On paper, vertical maneuvering equipment was not messed up. You have to basically commit out on hitting them to get to use it, either to defend yourself to get another turn or to pressure them again on the following turn. But in practice, there's just so much like everyone else has already harped on, and I'm just going to put the nail in the coffin so we can move on. There's so much free momentum
hmm
that its cost didn't feel as much like a cost.
Yeah, I mean, and it honestly, when it came out, it was not that bad. Like the only character at the time that could really abuse it was Ryukyu. She was the only one that like constantly stole momentum, but then they just kept printing more and more, where it's just too good now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's also like pretty much the biggest, if not the only thing with VME is, yeah, there's just a lot of momentum printing. Like there's just a lot of ways to just get free momentum, so it's not really a cost. Like that's really just it. So we really hammered this point in because that's really the reason why it's here on the banned list.
Agreed. And also
because-
because we don't have separate unique opinions. We're
I mean, this card was very like when it was revealed, everyone was like, "This card is pretty good," and honestly, it was because everyone was splashing it as a 1 or 2 of in the deck. Because if you needed speed, amp, or hate, then you could just toss in a vertical maneuvering equipment, 1 or 2 of it, and then bam, there you go. If you could generate a good amount of momentum, then it was a good card to kind of splash in.
then you just bam, hit it with your Spice Weasel, and you were off to the races.
Exactly.
All my attacks had EX3 is a pretty good effect for an asset.
EX3,
Agreed.
but I can only do it once.
EX3, but I can change the zone.
Yeah, I agree.
But moving on here, we're moving to a card that got errataed, and that is Devil Jin. His old enhance to let him add an attack from the discard pile to his card pool and gives it a damage for each attack in the card pool and allowing them to change the zone. It is now, instead of it being either turn, it is only during your turn as Devil Jin. So he can't throw in Goblin Bolt on defense to say, hey, I can turn your stuff off while I'm swinging at you, but also turn it off when you're swinging at me.
Yeah,
He
character's
has
dead.
weaker defense.
Character's bad.
Shut the hell
nobody,
up.
No, character's bad. He got eroded. Nobody prepare for him in Albuquerque. You don't have to worry about it.
Like, so with that meme aside, this errata like barely changes anything.
I don't believe that, but it has not changed the offense at all. The character.
I mean, that's
will
more
still
of what
kill
I
you.
mean. That's
But-
more of what I was meaning. Is like, because I don't know. I feel like you can still play the character like the same way that you have been playing the character. You just now can't add in cards on your add in cards from like on your rival's turn. Which, I mean, yeah, it was a defense tech because you got to throw in Goblin Bolt and just cancel the cool words. But I don't know. I just feel like with Devil Jin, it doesn't matter because your defense is just, well, you're going to be dead. I don't have to worry about defense.
In a way, I mean, you've got like there's a lot that he lost from this. He lost his own change. So if you do want to block, you have to either hope you have the right zones, like after you've played all of your cool cards and whatever's just left in your hand, or you half block things. Because I mean, the zone change was a big deal. Being able to say whatever random cards I kept in hand, because once I start attacking, I'm not building anything anymore, so I'm not really like sculpting my blocks. I'm gonna play what's here. Being able to change the zone was huge. Obviously, Goblin Bolt was huge. Being able to say, "Oh, your Bedazzled Helm Blast is powerful 5," you can't ever use it. I don't ever have to worry about powerful. I don't ever have to worry about this. Whatever you want to use, it's going to kill me. I just don't have to worry about it. And then, of course, there's the camouflage tech where I'll add it in, I'll half block it, or I'll let it hit me, and then I'll put it on top of my deck, and I'm guaranteed to draw attacks next turn. Like there's a lot of tech that he's lost on your turn that definitely changes the way he survives. But you're correct, he is still just going to kill you.
And he still has 35 HP, so
Right.
It's really hard to do that. That's one of the big things. Like when you look at like Godzilla and you look at like some of these other characters, like Reiner and stuff, they're like, cool. They just want to mainly block with their face, reduce a couple of damage, and then they're fine because they have such a high health total. He does that, and he still consistently kills on turn 2 or 3. Like if he gets to his third turn and he hasn't killed you, it's because he's built out two turns in a row, and you're dead on your next turn if you don't kill him. That's your window to end his life. So you have to be playing a faster deck, or you have to be able to block him forever. And when he does get to playing his attack strings, he does just play like 2 or 3 Goblin Bolts every turn from his drop. So you have to fight through 2 of those. The build I've been playing against recently plays those and then plays other stuff like pass through walls and stuff like that if you want to use like assets to try to deal with him. Or like trying to breaker his attacks. Like it's still, yes, this does fundamentally change how his defense works. He can bleed now, but he's still, the biggest problem with Devil Jin is his consistency to kill on his second or third attack turn. Like every time without fail, unless he just gets demonstrously unlucky.
Yeah, I think with his attack lineup, with his foundation base on his symbols, he has surprisingly strong ability to play strings. And he wants to string out. Honestly, he feels a lot like younger Toguro, where it became okay, but on the third
Toguro.
turn, what's up?
Toguro.
Mm-hmm.
You said Toguro, and that shit irks me.
Sure, Toguro.
No!
Uh,
No, you get to correct me on most given podcasts. This one's yours. Toguro.
Yeah. after Tagoro, before the change for Tagoro, you had, all right, but it's turn 3 now, so all mine are huge. He does that even if he doesn't have the foundations necessarily, but also he gets to do that very quickly. 4 damage on the second attack is what some people are like trying to transform into other characters for, trying to like be in their late game, and he goes, I play a second attack this turn. I'll give it 4. And then the next one gets 6, and the next one gets 8. And I think with the tech for like camouflage counter on attack, you just shove in a single goblin bolt to go, hey man, don't play anything I don't like. And then after that, you just add in camouflage counters, and then as soon as you hit, you just put them all on top of the deck, and then you respond and use all your abilities that let you draw, and just draw them. And then, check one, because why not? You get a bonus for checking an attack, so you might as well know one is happening. And then pop that off, do all your things, get everything you ever wanted, and then they need to be able to answer that. Like, your opponent has to be able to answer that. And right now, I do agree with what Jake was saying earlier. You have to either be faster, or you have to be able to weather the storm. And I think the safest way to weather the storm is to get rid of the card. Not like it getting banned, but I mean like while you're playing the game, exile it in some manner. Like get it removed from the game using all those cards that do that.
On one symbol. Well, 2 symbols.
Yeah, I like 2 symbols. There's also a couple of cards that like shove things to the bottom, and
Sure.
that wouldn't be terrible.
I just think that it's warping the meta. Like even if it's not like number 1 winning all the events, because like as you've shown, even really good decks, like even if they are oppressive or not fun to play against, don't always win every event. Bertolt 2 didn't win Nats. Krista won Nats here in US.
True.
And Bertolt still got hit. Why? Because it wasn't a fun play experience. And it was still a very good and top deck. Now, some people are going to find the one thing that Silver Bullet's that, and if they get to play against, a couple of those and make their way to top cuts, nice. But you can also just random lose out to decks that you're not ready for because Joe Schmo's playing his favorite character from one set, and he's been playing that one deck for, a year.
Yeah, he's been tricking people into thinking it's good.
Exactly. It's not fun to play against Double Chin. And Goblin Bolt is not a fun card. Like, it's like what James and I were talking about earlier today. Is Goblin Bolt really that problematic of a card in any deck where you get to play the effect like 4 times? No, not really. Like, is it annoying? Yeah, kinda. But the problem is Devil Jin's playing it. If he sees 2, he's playing minimum 2 of them every turn that he swings. So like, and it cancels characters. So even if I have a character that is meant for dealing with this card, it just gets to shut off my character.
Mm-hmm.
We played through a loop where I had to have 4 answers for what was on his board because of Goblin Bolt to be able to try to block something that he finished this attack string with teaming with the Attack Titan because it's a fucking 1 difficulty card and a character that puts 9,000 attacks in the board, and he just gets to play 2 of them for basically free, or commit like 1 foundation because if he hits me at all, he camouflage counters. They go back to the deck. He draws the camouflage counter. His next check's plus whatever, so he probably passes. He's mainly playing 4s and 3s, so they're passing anyway. I breaker 40 him at one point, and it was a breaker 6. And he reduced it with pass-through walls. So, and he still just played through it. Like it didn't matter.
True.
Like the amount of free play this character allows and consistency in how it plays. If it were like maybe kind of like high rolly, like Death Casino, where there are just a lot of times where you just miss, and it was like, well, I hit it or I didn't hit it, that'd be one thing. But he plays so many cards that either mill him out, like he has chaos and fire. So he gets to play all the fire attune cards that are meant for milling, that matter, like a Father Sin. Mills 4 draws him a card if he nets 2 attacks. He wants those attacks there anyway. It's free.
It's actually a bonus. If
Yeah,
he gets what he wanted, he gets an extra card too.
So he gets to do that. And then he goes, okay, cool. I hit a Goblin Bolt off that. Sick. Now every turn, you have to fight through one negate every time, no matter what. Because Goblin Bolt doesn't ignore. Oh, and he played one from hand. He sealed one of your answers when he played it. And now it's sitting there with another Goblin Bolt in the card pool that he now has to answer. So he's now turned off 3 answers to his character. So you're playing answers, but you don't get to play those answers. So,
Clue.
That's kind of my problem with Devil Jin and why I feel like this change wasn't enough. Does it make it so I don't have to do that same thing on my turn fighting him? Sure. I took a match off of him with who I'm planning to play, in Albuquerque, and that's neat. He can die, but you also have to see it, and you have to see 35. Most decks that can block Devil Jin are not hitting you for 35 in a turn. Most decks that can hit you for 35 in a turn aren't blocking his first attack string turn. It's not happening. Now, I'm sure we'll see, one of the top players at Albuquerque, they'll be like, yeah, Devil Jin, no problem, whatever. I'm not worried about it. But he's still consistently showing up on the graphs. And yes, that was pre-change, but I don't think this change actually affects what he wants to do, and that's kill you on turn 2 or kill you on turn 3.
I just can't wait for Hannes to show up and win Albuquerque.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Exactly.
Beth, do you have anything to add? Any great words of wisdom, Chef?
No, I don't care about playing against Devil Jin. Like, I don't mind playing against, like, turn 2 kill decks, to be honest. Like, I kind of like the fast gameplay. Yeah, I agree that he was really strong when he, like, before the errata, and I haven't played him since the errata, but, like, playing against him as Godzilla, I took a game off him, and it was, I don't know. I don't find that a poor play experience for me, like, playing against an aggro deck and dying on turn 2, but that's just my personal preference for games. My poor play experience is when people build into deadlock every single game because there's no real punishment for it, and you have these like 60-minute game ones, and you have massive fucking stages, and everybody just waits until they have 6 attacks in their hand, and then you just stare at each other until one of you decides I'm gonna go for it. And then if you can't kill them on that turn or the next turn, you just die. It's just like a game of chicken where you're just looking at each other's giant stages, and I don't find that fun.
So I typically agree with you in that point. I don't like playing super long games. I prefer to hit a midpoint of I don't mind dying to like an early, like a turn 3 or 4 usually. The problem I have with this is there's no way, even if I'm playing answers or see my answers to Devil Jin to try to make it a level playing field, he has Goblin Bolt that he recurs every single turn. So on top of his face and doing what he already does, that makes it incredibly easy for him to play all those attacks. He also gets to make them all 1 billion damage. He gets to play anything that he gets to stop anything you're doing that he doesn't like, whether it's on your character or not. If it's an enhance, you can't do it if he doesn't want you to. That's the poor play experience for me. It's not that I don't like aggro decks. I love aggro decks. I was just complaining the other day. I was complaining earlier today playing a game against Andrew where I threw over the course of 3 or 4 turns. I threw 4 or 5 attacks every single turn, and the deck he was playing, it took us to finish 2 games. It took us 2 hours, 3 hours, almost 2.5 hours, or something like that. It was an insanely amount of time, and it was just one of those things where I don't like those type of play experiences either. But the big issue is not only does he get to consistently throw all those attacks, he gets to throw all those attacks no matter what answer you have on board.
Yeah, I think it was a much bigger problem before they errata him. I think post errata,
I agree.
it's I haven't played against him, so I don't know, but like I don't think it's as big of a problem for him to say, I'm gonna be able to manipulate what you do to defend yourself on my turn when I'm attacking because I'm an aggro character. And I feel like there are answers to that. I just don't know enough about the cards. Like, isn't there one that like takes cards out of your discard pile and removes them? Like I think there are cards that do that, so you can take Goblin Bolt. I think I played that when I was playing against James. Like, you just take it out of your discard and get rid of it.
So did you go first or did he go first?
I don't remember. I do remember when it was, so I remember when he had So this was before the errata. So I remember on my attack turns, basically I would whatever I wanted to really go through, I had to do in my first enhance because I knew he was just going to put Goblin Bolt in and like cancel everything. So it was like I think it was at that point that I did something that got rid of his Goblin Bolt from his discard. I don't remember what the enhance for the card was, but like that was an answer to it.
Sure, if you're on death or you can attune void, there are cards you can play that'll remove cards at their drop.
I
The
don't.
problem with that is if he gets to go first into his first attack turn and you haven't had a chance to play any of those attacks, you don't get to remove those cards out of his drop. He just gets to do it, which means then he can consistently kill you on his first attack turn, his turn 2. Or if he can't, then you have one attack turn to spend your entire attack turn removing those cards. Because something similar happened when I played him. I played Vax against him, and I play a lot of those cards that remove stuff from drops in my Vax list. I even put in the one card with my attack hits. I get to remove something from your drop.
Into the fight.
I remove.
Yep.
Do what?
It's called into the fight or joining the fight. Yeah.
Yeah. So I played that. And ask James, like I didn't just get slapped to death over and over again. I think, but the problem is like he still just finds a lot of cards. And I actually think the pain point for Devil Jin's consistency and ability to kill is camouflage counter. Goblin Bolt is extremely annoying. There are things you can do to stop it. I am going to keep harping on it because I don't think he should be able to just add that card every single turn. I understand he's being an aggro character and going, oh, I can affect what you do to me. The big issue I have with that is he gets to do that. He gets to add in and give every single one of his attacks extra damage. When he does check an attack, he goes, cool, I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass this check. And then he's still playing cards that are coming in on 5s before he's even having to commit anything. The amount of times I've died where he's got 4 or 5 foundations on the board and he's had to commit almost nothing because he just had good checks or he cycled camouflage counter over and over again, is a lot. I think camouflage counter is what leads to the amount of consistency that deck really has. But Goblin Bolt makes it infuriating to deal with because even if you find your answers to stop him from doing those things, he can just go, no. And I think aggro is fine. You should have aggro decks. I prefer slinging attacks and playing more aggro cards. But when you get to cancel all my stuff like a control character, you get to guarantee your checks like somebody that manipulates the top of your deck. You get to add in attacks from your drop that have effects in the card pool whenever you want them on your turn. And then you also get to make all your attacks very big so they're all lethal. On top of getting to pass checks because you want to play a lot of attacks for hitting an attack. That is too much. That is too much for one character to be able to do in a way that feels fair.
So I don't know how you would make an aggro character in this meta that is viable without it being able to do some of that control stuff because the meta feels so like defense heavy and control heavy. And I might be wrong. That's just what it feels like to me right now. Like, how do you make an aggro character that can even do what it wants to do when everybody builds out to 10 million and cancels everything that you're trying to do? You know, and I think it's telling also that it's like, yeah, we think Devil Jin is a problem, and like he was, what, 12% of all the decks or something like that in England?
UK.
But there was one in Top Cuts? So I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. Like, you have to have some type of interaction as an aggro character, otherwise you just get shut down by control, which is control's job, but like you have to have a way to fight it.
So I don't mind having I don't mind having this aggro character that like feels a little unfair because I feel like aggro characters can't survive otherwise. Like Godzilla's got his stupid like flip the board, and that's why he's like consistently like a pretty good showing and why people enjoy playing him and why he does okay. He does like middle of the pack no matter what. And that's why Devil Jin is able to survive, I feel like, because he's an aggro character that can also do these other things.
So the big difference between him and Godzilla is Godzilla has reasonable counterplay that he can't tell you, no, you can't play that counterplay too.
I think that Devil Jin has counterplay too, and I think that's proven by the fact that there was only one in Top Cuts. I don't know enough about like the game to say what that is. I can just see the context of stuff around him. And the card I was thinking of, it wasn't something that removed from his discard, it was Vast Strength. So he would play Goblin Bolt and I would just cancel it. basically with that strength. I would
Oh,
just,
you would cancel.
Yeah,
the
I would just
ability.
say
Yeah,
this
it
doesn't have
loses
movement.
all non-keyword abilities.
That's what I was thinking if it wasn't removing from his
I mean,
discard.
that is a good answer. Like, there are answers. It's just a matter of finding them and having to tiptoe around Goblin Bolt. Also, Jin doesn't really give speed to his attacks,
That too.
so they're pretty blockable.
Yeah,
But also at the same time, you can only block so many attacks, and he's slinging like 10 attacks at you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did block a lot of attacks, and I was able to block pretty easily. However, I know that Devil Jin can make his attacks like plus 16. Like, I think he did that when he was testing against you, Jake, earlier, right?
Yeah, he he removed 3 of that card that gives him 1 speed, 1 damage for every attack in his card pool. And he had like 7 attacks in his card pool.
Yeah.
And he got rid of like 3 of them. He literally made it a 16 speed move for 22 after he canceled all of my responses to being able to play against it.
Yeah.
So he literally hit me for my entire health bar with 1 attack. Granted, I was already lower than my health total, but I mean, I had already blocked several in, had already like been mitigating some of the stuff, and he still got all these answers up. That's what I mean, though. It's like, if I have to play aggro into aggro, at which point does it devolve into I have to play a turn 2 deck or my opponent's going to play a turn 2 deck, right? So, like, in a vacuum, there are answers. There's always an answer for something. There is always a card that will answer another card. For some cards, that card is Goblin Bolt. In a vacuum, there are answers. But in, like, actual play, this is the type of stuff that's meta warping. If every deck has to have, like, if 15 to 20% of your deck has to be prepared to fight Goblin Bolt Devil Jin, that means the meta is being warped around this one card or this one deck.
So,
and like, meta warping is like why things get changed and get messed with, because if the meta is healthy and people can kind of play, and you've got like other characters doing different stuff, and you don't really have a way to prepare for one, but even if only 1 or 2 is top case, it's like I said with like Nats with Bertolt 2. Did Bertolt 2 even like do that well at Nats? I don't even think
Second
he
place.
got second place. So it still had a deck that beat it, that played into it, that was built to be able to fight it. But like, that means the meta was warped around having to deal with Bertolt 2, at least in some degree or shape or form.
Did Bertolt get changed after Nats?
yes,
He did.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he is now dead. He like is unplayable now. Like,
So-
that's what I'm saying, is like I sympathize with your point of we do need aggro characters. One of my problems is the attack titans don't feel aggro enough because you have to get to 9 foundations and flip.
I agree.
Like I said, like, if I'm playing all these attacks on turn 4 or 5, my opponent's already set enough stuff up, and I don't give anything speed. Everything gets 4 damage, but I play 5 attacks, they block 5 attacks. Because most characters in this game, if you're playing, most of the competitive characters are either on a symbol that draws them a lot of cards, or they draw cards on face, or they manipulate enough that they don't care, and they'll take 1 attack for like, 8 to 10. If you're an aggro and you're like throwing attacks and you can't get, I agree that the meta does feel way too defensive and way too control-y. Like, you do still have like Rodan. You do still have like some of these others, like, but like Ymir's an aggro character. Ymir builds for 2 turns and then kills you. Like, you have aggro characters that don't get to cancel every single thing you're doing while trying to interact with them. And I think that's the problem. It's like Devil Jin without Goblin Bolt was still seeing play. Like, Devil Jin was being played at like Nats and stuff, and people were starting to find like really cool ways to play him. And then Goblin Bolt kind of took him to that next level where he's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do this, and you can't answer me. Like, his amount of play and his like amount of showing up has only gone up over time, especially after Heroes of Exandria, because of Goblin Bolt. Even though I think Camouflage Counter is the biggest enabling card in his deck.
My opinion here, I'm cutting in the middle of the road. Mostly because I think Devil Jin on face, fair. The cards he gets to play make him unfair. That's what makes him really good. I agree that the 2 cards that have been talked about the most, Camouflage Counter and Aerial Goblin Bolt, are the culprits of what make him feel unfun. The reason he didn't feel as terrifying at Nats. So I played against one. I played on stream. You can go watch it if you can find that anywhere. I think it's on YouTube. Is Camouflage Counter does its thing. It requires you to hit. Without Aerial Goblin Bolt, if you have defense, you're allowed to use your defense to block to make sure he doesn't get to do the consistent thing. But then when he hits you, he gets to go, hey, I went off. With Goblin Bolt, it now becomes you need so much more defense. You need double the amount of defense effectively to get that same effect of, okay, well, if I block all 4 attacks that he's going to play safely, he can gamble on the 5th attack, or he can wrap up his turn, or there's also a chance that he just doesn't have 5 attacks because he only gets quote unquote 5 cards, but like he only has so many cards at a time, and there's a chance that not all of them are attacks. When I played against it then, so this is basically kind of like I was talking about. I played against Devil Jin, and I was scared. I was like, yeah, every attack's going to be for a head. That matters. I need to make sure that if I'm not blocking, it needs to be the first or second one. I have to block the later ones. But then and then I played basically that same list into this new version with Aerial Gumball, and this was post-change. And I mean, I just wasn't allowed to be defensive to solve that problem because of the cancels. I think, personally, I've said this a few times. I think I even said it on a previous podcast episode. The lore fact-checking people of the internet will say for sure, probably in the comments. I think he should have sealed the attacks that he pulled in. I know James was complaining that would make him too weak, but then he could have changed the zone. He was allowed to block, which would maybe made him a 7-hander sometimes. And he could have blocked with those trick attacks and then used them while still changing zones. He could have pulled in those attacks to change zone, give 1 billion damage. We saw characters like Yongatoro who just gave a bunch of damage. There are plenty of characters that just give a bunch of damage. And to go to the what makes an aggro character good, typically they just give a lot of a stat for free so that you're allowed to interact or force them to have to interact with your attacks. And then defense usually says, I wanted to interact with your attacks, so let's interact. And then you have to break through their defensive wall when someone is built around the block mechanic. What happens, and what I think makes this version of Devil Jin feel bad, obviously pre-errata even worse than the errata version, was during the enhanced step, it feels like you're just not allowed to actually play the enhances. Because if you both know what you're doing, you both know which enhance matters, so now you're stuck not ever pushing that button, which means it's always canceled. They've effectively sealed it as soon as they put that card in there. And then eventually you'll go, I guess I pushed the button. And then they go, yeah, I'll cancel it. So you're stuck there having to find more of your answer, as Jake said earlier, more of your answer than he has cancels at any given turn. And that has to be basically the turn where you win, or in the case of this errata, don't die, so that you're allowed to win on your turn.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't disagree that it's probably a little too strong. Being able to, I mean, for sure it's too strong. Being able to like just cancel anything. I think a pretty easy fix to that, and I don't know if I've said it on podcast before, but it's my way to fix Goblin Bolt so it's fair for everybody. It just removes. If you flip it, if you play the response, it removes it after it's done. You get it 4 times per game. I still think that sealing the cards that he puts in, because it will get rid of camouflage counter, makes him a little too. It makes him too weak because, as you said, the good aggro carriers get it for free. Jin doesn't get it for free. I have to play at double. I have to play at double progressive to get my ability.
He does
And the
get
only
the damage
reason
for free though, which is the part that I'm talking about. The
no,
massive
the
stat
damage it
gain.
comes at the cost of playing it double progressive. Every attack I play counts as 2 progressive rather than 1 if I want to get damage on it. And camouflage counter helps negate that detriment. If I just have to play, there's no way Devil Jin ever plays more than 3 attacks a turn unless he's built out super hard or um obviously there's edge cases, but
I
unless
think
he's
that's
built out
less
super
true
hard
now, but continue. Sorry.
because he's got to play like even if I play 3 attacks and if I'm playing only 3 diffs and I'm playing 3 attacks, obviously I can play a teaming. Like that's the kind of the one if you got teaming you get to play more. But even if I'm playing 3, I'm playing on a 3, on a 5, and then my third attack is on a 7. So if I want to play a 4th attack, I have to play on a 9. Even if I'm checking good, and if I check good, I'm still tapping 4 or 5 foundations throughout that turn. And a good, even a average defensive character with the cards that Jin plays at the speeds that they are can block 3 attacks very easily.
I agree that the attacks that he plays currently would make that less good. Before, he was playing attacks that still were considered good in effectively everybody. No one else was really running camouflage counter, but he was running things like blue flame torment or armbar to give an extra little bit of damage. But the part that makes it where I was going to say I disagree that he doesn't get to play more than 3. The thing that gates him from playing more than 3 typically is that he didn't have more than 3. If he ends up, and especially in the list that we're kind of talking about, like let's say he didn't get camouflage because that's the card that enables the consistency part.
Mm-hmm.
So like if he still got everything else, he still gets to change the zone, he still gives a bunch of damage. Let's say they're sealed. When he slams them down, he just puts in blank ones, I guess. We'll just say he only has the non-fancy cards to put in this attack turn. If, in your example, it's on a 3, on a 5, on a 7. Let's say he only plays Besieged. Like he just ended up with a 4 Besiege hand.
Mm-hmm.
So he plays it, it's for 6. He plays it, it's for 8. He plays it on a 7. He checks. And then most likely, he readies at least one of them because it captures the target.
Yeah.
Or he checks an attack. And he can respond and not commit anything. If he doesn't check the attack there, he's allowed to try the 4th Besieged. And if he checks the attack, it just passes. He doesn't have to commit anything. If he fails to check it, he has to pay for it. But that's an easy turn 3 in which he throws hard to block 6, 8, 10, 12, or 13. And I had no other special abilities that I was allowed to do other than put an attack in, possibly change the zone, give it damage equal to the attacks.
Sure, but they're only hard to block because it's Besiege. You're probably like very rarely are you getting like 4 Besiege. Like we've got these other attacks, the Goblin Bolts, the Camouflage Counters, like in the deck that's being played right now. Goblin Bolt's 3 speed, Camouflage Counters 2 speed. The only fast attacks are whatever you consider fast. I mean, 4 speed is Kraken, and Mega Burst is 5 speed, and Teaming is 5 speed.
Because Teaming's good 5/5.
Yeah, and so you've got those 3, and except for Teaming, you don't get to play you don't get to play those late, really, especially if you don't like if you're playing on double progressive. Like you don't want to play a 5 diff as your third attack when you've got 4 attacks in your card pool and you don't get any help on your checks.
Well, it sounds like if he had to do that, maybe he would have to solve the other half of his attack equation, which is how do I play attacks that require effort to be blocked? I'm sure on his 3 symbols we could probably find something that gave speed, or find attacks that give themselves speed, that when I play them they become fast, because I make them hit hard, and still kill people.
Wow.
Or, like we used to do with Younger Toguro, draw me new cards so that I can keep playing the attacks. Agreed that it's not, the double progressive makes it harder. I still think it's very easy into a deck that isn't actively trying to play hard defense for them to play the third one and that one probably get through, and then play a fourth one and that one almost guarantees to get through because it's scary to take anything after the first one. Or just as easily, you mind game him into going, okay, I'll take the first one because obviously you're trying to play the game because that's your character, and then you just build 2 and you go, I'll hold these 2 attacks for next turn. The turn I'll really kill you. And then I'll change zones if I need to block. I'll do the thing. Because I still have 35 health and a dream to live with.
Well, you don't get to change zones to block anymore. But
well, yes, but I'm in the old version. If he was just sealing cards, I think he's allowed to change zone on his turn, on your turn too. That would be his defensive move.
Sure. My big thing is, like, we're talking about him like he's a fair 5-hander. Like, you're not playing manipulations of Zeke Yeager every single fucking attack, and you're netting at least 1 or 2 more extra cards. So you're realistically drawing more cards, unless you don't see it. And let's not pretend like we're not playing Mimicry, so like we don't usually have access to 2 or 3 at a time. Or like we're not seeing them at all. Because Mimicry is the same as getting that card. It is almost always what you pick with Mimicry. It is almost always netting you a card or 2 every single turn. So if you don't have, like, you have to have the asset hate to deal with that, which is fine. We should be running asset hate if you can find it. There's not a lot of it.
There's enough.
There's some amount of it, but like I'm playing on good on my character. Where's my asset hate? I don't get any because my symbol hasn't been actually supported in like 4 sets. So part of the bigger problem with this equation and the issues we're having with Devil Jin, I think, are a direct consequence of having no real symbol diversity. Where like he's got 2 symbols that have just been
his 3.
Yeah,
all 3 of his symbols have been getting printed the whole time.
Have they?
Yeah,
he's got evil.
Oh, I guess not evil.
Yeah, not evil. So
I was thinking he had death mentally in my head.
He's chaos, evil, fire. Fire being the best support symbol right now for attuned cards.
True.
In my personal opinion.
I agree. It's a great second fiddle.
Good cards. Like it's what allows him to play Teaming with the Attack Titan. It's what allows him to play Besiege. Like it's what allows him to play Sins of My Father or whatever.
Manipulations as well.
It's what allows him to play manipulations while still getting to play Camouflage Counter, while still getting to play a Goblin Bolt, while still getting to play, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like the big problem with Devil Jin is, I think, more of an issue of we've had 6 symbols for the last 4 sets. Not only does that dull the game down to like really, really easily warped metas, I'm sure it's probably easier for them as a balance point. I don't know the whole of it for like the big whys we're doing fucking 6 symbols for like the last year. It's really annoying for me. Character I've wanted to play since it came out, I've gotten no support for in the last like year. So outside of like a challenger deck with cards that aren't directly related or generically good. So I think that is part of the big reason, is because, yes, there are a couple of things that really make him excel. But when you look at it as a whole, he's got everything. He's got ways to get more cards. He can turn off anything that tells him no. He can keep playing, even though if you're playing on double progressive, the second an attack slips through, half your card pool is going on top of your deck, and you're probably going to draw a card or 2. If not, you're going to check it. You're going to check the attack and put it right back in your hand. Or then you're going to draw a card. So you're going to check one, draw the second one. And then you're going to go right back to cycling with manipulations of Zeke Yeager. You've got that one card that destroys and gives speed for every attack, speed and damage for every attack in your card.
Exam strategy.
That you get to do for free. And if I go, no, you can't do that. Not only do you usually have more than one, but let's pretend you've only gotten one. You get to go, Goblin Bolt, no. Goblin Bolt, no. If my hand's on an asset, pass through walls. You have too many options on your symbol to not only can I guarantee swing at you, I can give it all the stats in the world and you can go fuck yourself. That's it. Like that's the end all be all of this character is when you put he is not only is he the sum of his parts, which are majorly extremely good. He's got effects that are relevant and allow you to keep doing them. Like card pull abilities are usually strong, and that's because you don't get to do them except either on the turn you play them or some niche interaction that puts them into your card pool. Or like camouflage counter was made for Asui 3, and like seeing some of the hoops you could jump through to play with camouflage counter is pretty neat.
4.
Asui 4, whatever. And it wasn't like super oppressive in Asui 4. Even though you could jump through hoops and you could get camouflage counter to go off and do all kinds of silly stuff. But Devil Jin gets to do it and then add them back for free. And keep doing it. Because then when you check the one, you can just put it back in the card pool and go again. The big point that I'm making is that the format is not as healthy as it could be because of the lack of symbol representation in the game, in a game with so many symbols that we have relevance to. I am sad that we have a aggro character that I want to hate on that I don't think is fair and doesn't feel fun. I've gotten my head run in by Godzilla a million times to that point. Like Godzilla's an aggro character. I at no point have I thought Godzilla was unfair. You know why? Because there are answers. There are ways I can play. Sometimes you don't have it. But never do I get punished that hard as I do when I'm playing against Devil Jin, which is the big issue with Devil Jin. So that's kind of like my end all be all of the piece is I think the problem is the lack of support of symbols, and I'm hoping Turtles fixes that. I'm hoping Turtles leans really hard into like all and good and all that stuff, but we'll see.
I mean, we can only hope. I mean, Turtles is, around the corner. So,
Turtles is our one
minutes.
hope and savior in our hearts. It will always be the best until it turns out to be the worst. Until it becomes not the chosen one and instead destroys the Force and not save it.
But yeah, so that's pretty much the band and errata that we got a few days ago. These will go into effect May 12th. So these will be in effect before the Albuquerque Regional. And speaking of the Albuquerque Regional, while we try to figure out which road we need to take to actually get there, because it looks like we're just in the middle of a field, why don't we talk about what we are planning to take to the Albuquerque Regional? How about it, Steph? What are you playing?
I waffled quite a bit. There was a moment in time where I considered playing Bakugo, and then there was a moment in time, a much briefer moment in time, where I considered playing Botan, and I was actually really excited for that because I think Botan's really funny, and I think it's really funny to like rip random cards out of people's hands, especially because we're in
Botan's cool.
Like I was talking about this meta where we're just sculpting constantly and like staring at each other for 3 or 4 turns.
Yeah, people hate that. It's so funny.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, you're not allowed to sculpt because I'm just going to take random cards out of your hand. But
yeah,
in testing, it just kind of wasn't going to make the cut, and I did not want to have another Pike situation. So if I was
another really bad showing.
Yeah, I have not been able to test or do much at all. I've been really busy with work and stuff, so I'm kind of going into Albuquerque not expecting anything at all. I am taking Godzilla. I stole this straight off of UVS Ultra.
Your beloved.
Yeah, it's a really cool list. Don't remember who made it, but I stole it and then I changed it a little tiny bit. He stuns, and he's a little more defensive than my typical Godzilla lists. So, we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
oh yeah.
You went back to your beloved, as we always do. You went back to your ex.
I did, yeah. I mean, at least
everybody's done it once.
I've had an experience where I lost literally everything. Literally everything. I mean, if you heard about my Denver experience, you'll know everything that I attempted, I failed miserably at Denver. So it physically, literally could not get worse than it was in Denver.
I mean, if you watch the vlog, didn't the place almost burn down? Like,
yeah. It was bad. So I think I can get someone. I think I'll get someone with Godzilla, with a Stunzilla. Like I don't think people. People aren't going to be expecting it. Godzilla can easily kill on accident.
I think some people will be expecting a bit of stun, but yeah, stun has been sort of like kind of disrespected in a way lately, because people are just like, yeah, I mean, who's really going to play stun? Oh, wait a minute. I just got stunned out and I can't do anything about it. Okay. So I agree.
I think the reason stun has been kind of like disrespected is that a lot of the cards that are really good don't have stun.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. There are some cards that are good that have stun, and you see
Okay.
those get played, but no one's building around the idea of committing out the board. And I also think it was less viable with things like VME. If you were able to get hit, it didn't matter if your 5-speed move had me committed out, because I -3 speed and I block it.
Yeah.
And then I -3 speed, I block that one.
Yeah.
And then, like, yeah, maybe I don't get to block anymore now because I've made it now effectively a 7. But I prevented the ones that mattered enough.
Yeah, and there's some other cool parts to this kit that like I truly had never thought about for Godzilla. So he's Godzilla, so he's running City Rampage. And then this I don't remember whose list this was, but they put in Crotch Lightning, which is I was like, why is Crotch Lightning on this list? But then I was like, oh, okay, because it works off
It's
of
done too.
having and it works off of having an action like in your card pool. So I don't even
Was it
remember.
action or spell? Or
Yeah,
if
it's
there-
action
if
or
it's-
spell.
If there is another or action
Oh.
spell.
Yeah, and then Crotch Lightning is also a spell, so you can like chain them together. So I was like, that's kind of cool. I haven't had a chance to play it yet because I've only tested this deck like 4 times, and I haven't seen it in any of those 4 times. But
That's how it
there's some cool stuff like that. So like I know Godzilla well enough that I could just kind of play whatever deck with him and probably have a good time. And if I fail out, I fail out. I'll just go hang out and make TikToks or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, respect.
Welcome back to the One Trick Gang. That shit
Yeah.
felt
Feels
every
good.
time to go. I don't have to think about it. I'm just gonna play Go Chaco.
Yeah.
Like whatever happens,
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. How's it feel to actually have a main?
It feels pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. And it's like
Yeah.
I'm known for this main. Like everybody knows I'm the Godzilla gamer.
Godzilla Queen of the Monsters.
No, never seen a
Yep.
Godzilla movie.
Never heard of
We
it.
should watch one because there's some good ones.
We should. Okay.
Yo, responsible play movie night?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could watch -1 in a heartbeat. That movie is so good.
Yeah.
And
On
then we
Netflix,
could watch like I don't know Godzilla versus Kong because it's funny.
Fair.
Yeah.
I like that one.
You.
All right, Jake, what are you playing?
You know it do be when it is, it's not or isn't, but it is when it do be is. You know what I'm saying?
James, how about it?
Yeah. Anyway, so
Jake, who are you playing?
I am playing Yusuke, team leader.
Husuke?
Exactly.
Deuce
Team
K.
leader.
Imsuke.
Yusuke, because when I fucking leave the table, my opponents are like, what?
They poop themselves.
They poop themselves. Yusuke, because I'm leaving, baby. Deuces. I'm playing Yusuke, team leader, because I still think this character can do some things. There are points where he can turn face and just completely aggro somebody out. There are a bunch of cards that he has access to that I think are good.
A bunch of cards?
At least like 2.
Dang, at least 2 cards that are good.
I
Would
think
you like to name them
there's-
in this video that will come out basically only within 1 week of you having to play it in front of people?
Can't do that. So it's a trade secret.
Oh, snap.
I will say I am playing some cards that say spirit on them. So there's your insider tip.
Okay.
This
I don't
insider
know why
tip
you
that
would do.
people could
Why would you
assume.
do that?
Yeah.
Well, it's because I'm a rebel.
Okay. So there's secret good spirit cards.
Well, didn't say secret. I said they're my trade secret.
And then gave you the tip that you would assume anyway. I'm Yusuke, who has to do with spirit cards. I'm playing spirit cards.
Never. Heard
Oh, is
of
that
it.
what that
Anyway,
card says?
I
Huh.
have no idea. Never heard of it. So I am playing Yusuke. I am playing him on a symbol I'm not going to name right now. I think he's really good. He's taking matches off of Devil Jin. At least a match off Devil Jin as of today. He has always been one where like I've taken games and surprised people with the way I've played him. I played him last year in Vegas at a side event. And I did end up having my opponent just go, wait, what? You can just kill me in 1 turn even though I'm playing Byakko? That's what? I've gotten some really good looks from the way I played Yusuke in the past, so I think it's time to finally play him in a main event. I've been looking at him. I had been trying to play different Aaron lists, not really working. unfortunately, I feel like the errands we have right now are too slow. I feel like they kind of want to do aggro stuff, but they end up in this weird like realm where against any character that's even kind of defensive, they can't get attacks through because there's like no real speed stuff in the format, especially with VME gone. And yeah, so I couldn't play Aaron. I thought about playing Fax, but without combined firepower, he doesn't kill as hard as fast. So like I'm still able to kill people with him and take games and do stuff. It's just like combined firepower really gave him that extra to go, all right, I'm going to kill you this turn because of all the damage it adds. It also was like one of the easiest ways to block. Spoiler, we know that's why that card is unusable for everybody that's not Ghidorah. So I'm glad it's gone. Don't get me wrong, but I think that Vax is going to need a little bit extra or like a little bit more commitment. And after playing,
You're not doing it either.
Yeah, I'm not doing either of those things. I feel like after Denver, I put in a good showing with it. I had a good time with it. It's definitely one that stays put together in my bag. I like playing it. I played it at our store championship. Had some trouble with Devil Jin. But I mean, other than that, it felt pretty good. I was still able to close games out. I just had to think a little bit harder without combined firepower. And I haven't had the time to put it in. And I kind of wanted to play a fan favorite. And by fan favorite, I mean one I've been trying, like I've wanted to play for a while. So I figure it's time to, before the meta changes and before Turtles comes out and I get committed to a turtle, because let's face it, I'm playing a turtle. I will be playing a turtle when that set.
It's because they're protagonists, isn't it?
It is because they're protagonists and no other reason. And it's not one of my favorite childhood series. And that's.
I don't believe you've ever been a kid.
That's true too. But yeah, I kind of figured right now with the way the format is and like a little bit of like changes coming to the end of this format, I feel like this format's kind of understood but not solved. So I feel like now is kind of the time to play Yusuke if I'm going to. And I'm gonna be at least playing Turtles for a little bit after the set comes out, unless I just really can't find a groove with one of them. So I want to give Yusuke that real last college try, and then he'll probably be the same thing like Vax is right now, where like he stays assembled in my bag, and I like toy with the list and play him every now and then at locals. And we'll see what comes of it later. But I think Yusuke is my lock-in pick for ABQ.
Classic. I mean, you are a big fan of protagonist characters, so it was only inevitable that you would end up playing a protagonist and sticking to it.
But not being the protagonist, just pretending to be one. LARPing as one.
No, I am inevitable.
You are not Himsuke.
I am.
He's Yusuke.
Exactly.
James, what about you? Even though I know the answer, but please do tell the listeners at home.
It's Devil Jin, baby.
It's everything we just ranted about for the last hour and a half.
Yeah, and if you want to hear more about it, rewind the video and listen to that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like I think the character, for all the reasons we've talked about, very good right now. I didn't really want to mess with creating too much of my own deck for this event because I've done that a lot for the previous ones, and they're usually fine. But I just have not found a character that I super care about wanting to put the time in to build and tech. And this character is fun to play and a little broken. So I was just like, I'll take a list, play it a while, change a few things that make it more that I like or that I think the character is working well, and then just kind of run it. And so that's my plan, hoping to at least do decent. But I will see. I mean, it could very easily just be the thing where everyone's got them figured out and I go and just lose because they all know the answer. I would not be surprised if I had plenty of time to learn and tech it. So we'll see what happens.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Devil Jin, like I said, we've talked about him a good chunk of this episode. So a lot of people are going to be expecting to see him and playing against him. So we'll just have to see how that really goes. Now, Brian, Old Man Sensei, who are you playing for Albuquerque?
Well, you see, I'm old. Yusuke. And I'll be playing not Genkai. She's not very good. I am going back. I wanted to play Hiei so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played him at my local a couple of weeks ago. In our not Scramble, but the other one. Not the one that replaces local champs, whose name I cannot think of. And yeah, the store championship, basically. And it was a good showing. It was a lot of fun. I did fine. I went 3-1.
Not bad.
But I was fighting really hard to get those wins, which was the same as when I wanted to play him for Vegas a year ago. I was just like, I am working so hard to get a success, and if I just played somebody else, I could probably just succeed. And I was fighting hard against people who I was like, I shouldn't be having to fight hard into this person to get a win. There are characters that I should be having to worry about, and some of these characters, I'm just like, I mean, every character can be good. I don't mean it in that way, but like, just like this deck is a pile somebody just put together like in 30 minutes, and it's taxing my ability to get 28 damage on the board. So instead, I'm going to rear my third ugly head and play Ghidorah again for the third time in a row. And then we'll have new cards, and I won't care anymore. I'll probably play the Bird Boy because
that's our boy Falco.
Because he's our Bird Boy.
That is indeed Falco.
And yeah, and like, it's not that different. I changed symbols, so I feel like I could answer more meta relevant things, and that's kind of it. It's not really that exciting. He still does Ghidorah things. I have to be way more careful into Devil Jin because I can't do Ghidorah things on their turn nearly as easily. But what are you gonna do? You just gotta play the game the way it's built and not the way you want it to be until they change it to the way you want it to be, or they don't.
That is kind of how it be.
But that's why I'm second in command, because I'm willing to roll with it. And I think the last person to reveal what they were playing is you, Andrew. Would you like to tell us and take us home?
No, because people are going to laugh at me. But I will anyway.
They already laugh at all of us.
I know.
We are clowns. We amuse them.
But my character for Albuquerque is actually Jin from Dark Tournament.
Oh, you clicked the wrong Jin. That's what.
Yeah, you think he was looking
You're
at the
like,
wrong
oh,
charts.
everyone was just like, Jin. Everyone's like, Jin is so good.
Yeah, I'm playing
a 33% shot, right? There's 3 Jins.
I remember seeing a good bit of Jin last year in Vegas, and he seemed to do okay, but Jin always has had this problem trying to close out games. My list is basically to try to be defensive against these aggro decks like Devil Jin, and just some of the other aggro decks just kind of moseying around out there. But also being able to splash in a few attacks that can put out the damage, if not close a game. The deck just kind of needs to get there. Is something I've been just trying to work on, and I think Jin has a place right now to try to survive and try to get through these games, get through these matchups.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm taking Dark Tournament Jin. We'll call him Jim.
Let's call him Dark Jim.
No. We'll call him, but yes, Jim from Dark Tournament.
Yeah, let's call him Jim. Let's just call him DT Jim.
DT Jim, yeah.
And that way we have Devil Jin, and then we have DT Jin.
And then you have Starter Deck Jin, which reading him is all right.
And then you have SE Jin, Starter Edition Jin.
Yeah, that's who I'm taking. I think he's got a bit of legs. So, but we'll just have to see. And with that, we're just gonna be wrapping up the episode here. I think we might have found the route to get us to Albuquerque, so we're gonna hit the road here soon. But we're hoping to see you guys in Albuquerque. All of us, all 6 of us, will be there. So feel free to stop us, say hi, hang out with us if you'd like, and yeah, looking forward to the event.
Hopefully, you guys are having a lot of fun on the pre-releases that should have just started a few days ago. Let us know in your comments who's cool in the new stuff that's just come out. Any cool pools, etc. Obviously, like and subscribe in the video.
Click the bell.
Click
Yep.
the bell if you are one of those bell clicking kind of people.
We just opened a new set of AOT 3 Apocalypse, so if you're
true.
wondering what you're gonna see at Albuquerque, go check out those videos. We got a part 1 and a part 2. Don't worry about part 1. Part 2 is the better one. Definitely go watch that one.
No bias,
No bias.
Not at all.
just
It's
facts.
the cool people are in part 2.
No bias, just pajamas. And with all that said, I am Andrew. I'm gonna die.
I'm Steph. They can never make me hate you, Devil Jin.
I'm Jake. They can always make me hate you, Devil Jin.
Brian, I think we're done cooking.
And I'm James. I'm just the other guy.